All right. I think you can hear me now. I think you can hear me now, right? You can hear me now. You can hear me now. It's good now, I think, right? Let's go. All right. I had to switch to this shitty camera. All right. I'm sorry. That's how it's going to be, all right? That's gonna how it's going to be. But we're going to be talking about um how the role the free market should have in the conservative movement, because whether we think the election is legitimate or not, it's still clear that there's many people out there that still support someone that's literally delusional and is not electable. Yeah, yeah, it was shitty camera, no mic, so sorry. But there's still a widespread amount of people that do support him, whether we think the election was legitimate or not. So we have to question, where should we go as a conservative movement, and where should we go as, like, where should we go to the future, and what should we change? What hasn't been effective? What has been effective? And one of the things I've seen that I don't think has been effective at all, and I hope to really bring out here, is that I don't think the free market capitalism stuff we've been saying out, I don't think that's really been working. I don't think it's effective. I don't think mass consumerism is conservative at all. It's not. Watching your friends die in the streets to opiates and watching them kill themselves and jerking off to Zootopia porn isn't conservative. I'm sorry, it's not. If that's what the free market is, I'm not for the free market, fundamentally. And I know there's going to be that one guy in chat, not in the live chat, you guys are all chads, but in the chat later, there's going to be that one guy that's like, communism? You're a communist. And it's like, okay, bud. In the European Industrial Revolution, manufacturism, technology, that being like widespread, right? Because it was Adam Smith's which laissez-faire policy, which was popular at the time, is what kickstarted it. And basically all the wealth went to a few business owners. And since technology was so automative, people were replaceable. Their families needed jobs desperately, and they had to go through horrible working conditions for little pay. People couldn't keep up their family, so they had to bring in their wives and their children in just so they can afford stuff. And when you have your wife and children in a factory too, that's never good. Because the American dream, I guess it should be Europe, but still the dream of humanity is to have that one parent, hopefully the father being the one working. And when you fuck families so bad because of your shitty economic policies that the mothers and the children have to start coming in, that's not good. It's something that's great. If we look at the European Industrial Revolution specifically, I didn't know if I'd get into this or not, but I guess I am now. The what's the word? What is the word I'm looking for? Come on, I need the word. Agrarian. Yeah, the agrarian class, which is the ones that. Nope, that's not it. Artisanal class. Okay, I'm smart. I promise you. The artisanal class, which is the class that is working, like hand manufacturism, they went so true. They got so fucked by industrialization, manufacturism, that the artisanal class went out. They just went out of business, right? They couldn't keep up. They couldn't put out products at a fast enough rate and at a cheap enough cost because they were making everything by hand. So the whole means of production went into machinery, right? And it put out the artisanal class. It made everyone reliant on machines, and everyone felt the way that they knew life shifting away from them dramatically. What we saw next was people smashing machines, what was referred to as the Luddites coming out, being super anti-system against the new bourgeoisie state, smashing things, creating chaos, just pure anarchy. That's what emerged because people felt their jobs being stripped away from them because of technology, right? And when you have this, and when you have all this stuff, there was no competition because of the way that automation was. It was so productive that there was few businesses that could compete. All the power went to few businesses. And what happened was, we always like to dream. The libertarian dream is that if the workers don't like something, they'll just go to a different business. That wasn't a thing that could happen. There wasn't other businesses. There was few businesses because they were so productive from machinery that there was no alternatives. You had to get your wife, your kids to work in these horrible working conditions for really low pay. And what happened was people got so upset about being fucked by technology that what happened was Marxism literally created from laissez-faire in Europe, the Industrial Revolution, the technology becoming so rampant and becoming uncontrolled by governmental force led to people becoming upset because they didn't have someone caring for them. Their not American family, it was Europe. Their family wasn't cared for. And what happened was Marxism literally came out from this horrible system, this horrible economic system that was laissez-faire in Europe, right? What happened is the new bourgeoisie state, which was created due to the need for white-collar workers to administer blue-collar workers, emerged. They took the factories, and these people that had been working for all this stuff never had anything coming to them, so they got mad at the bourgeoisie state, and they had to overthrow it. Marxism was created by a laissez-faire system because a lack of control created people to see that the way that they wanted to live their life, the natural one to live life, one to have family, was so stripped away from them that they wanted to then conquer the means of production because the means of production was fucking them, right? And this economic system is made by Adam Smith, is the laissez-faire system, which came up to America and kickstarted the American Industrial Revolution, which had very similar results of the European Industrial Revolution in making chaos, disorder, lack of culture, destroying the culture within, destroying the family, and creating Marxism. And that's what happens, because when you don't have control, and when you put all the power in the hands of businesses, and you create an elite that doesn't care for people, they will feel all the power stripped away from them, and then they will revolt and try and seize that power. And that's what emerged in Marxism, was that the people felt their power coming away from them. They had nothing. They were basically living by the means of business owners. So they wanted to take away the property of business owners because they were being fucked by it, all right? They're being fucked by it, all right? What was promised by this laissez-faire system from Adam Smith was a better livelihood for all members of society. And what industrialization actually did was that it led to horrible working conditions, poor pay, only benefited the few, right? I'm not a Marxist, right? I don't think we should be seizing the production of different people. Actually, the argument I am making right now is the most anti-Marxist argument you can make, because the laissez-faire system is literally what created Marxism. It literally is. If you look at the European Industrial Revolution, Marxism and Marx, literally, I am not a Fed. I am not a Fed. That's a lie. Okay? You're a Fed. Don't say that. But what happens is, once the people tried to seize the production, they had the power come to them. Once the power is in the hands of the people, they will make decisions that are not better for them, rather decisions that are impulsive. And this is what creates consumerism, is impulsive decisions in the hands of people leads to people choosing decisions that fucks their livelihoods, and it's not good for the American dream or the want of the family. It's not good for the betterment of people, because people are dumb, all right? People are stupid, okay? I'm going to be honest. People are stupid, right? And when people are displaced by machinery or immigration, they want to seize that thing that displaced them, which would be private property. So that Marxism was literally created from the laissez-faire system, in case you know, and in case you wanted to know. And where we always, we've heard it before, the conservative take that the problem where Marxism fails is that it puts the power in the hands of the elite and takes the power away from the people. No. Marxism is literally putting the power in the hands of the people, making the people have this power, like giving the power to them. That's literally what it is, and that's where it goes wrong. It's because when you give impulsive decisions in the hands of people, they will make decisions that are worse for the rest of society. Just like what happens in democracy, just like what happens when you give power to the people, they then vote for stupid idiots like Joe Biden because that's their impulse. They don't do what's better for them because they don't know any better. And that's what Marxism is. And you know nothing about Marxism, so shut up, Charlie Kirk, okay? Shut up, all right? You're stupid, all right? Uh, um, but yeah, that's literally, like, if you even want to look at communism at a basic level, the Marxism at a basic level, the first phase is a socialist phase, which the people, well, first what happens is the people seize production, then distributionism happens, and then it's supposed to be the state goes away completely. And what happens is that part is never reached. The second part is never reached, not because of the power vacuum, but because people are put in power into. When you put normal people, the average person in power, they are going to make decisions that are horrible, right? When you give people that are impulsive, just like what happens with consumerism. If you give people, let's say, you give people a salad, right? And you give people a burger, and they're so addicted to some of the chemicals that are in this burger that are going to make them fat as shit. They're going to choose that over the salad because it's impulsive, not because it's better for them. They aren't rational consumers. They're idiots. People are dumb, all right? People are stupid, okay? We aren't the national state of the world. I know everyone in this chat is super high IQ, the biggest IQs, but most people aren't like us. Most people are stupid. Most people are dumb, all right? They're stupid. I'm sorry to say it, but they're dumb. But that's just how it is. That's what happens when people feel displaced, is that they try and seize things and they make impulsive decisions. And that's where Marxism always goes wrong. Big brain, 133 IQ, big brain. That's where things always go wrong, is that when you give people the power directly, when you destroy the elite above them and put the power in the hands of the people, they will choose stuff that is destructive to them. And that's exactly what happens in a consumerist culture. When you give the power to the hands of the people to make decisions, you put the decisions in the hands of the people, you destroy the elite. There's no influence in the market. You destroy the elite, you let people decide whatever. People will choose stuff that is horrible for them, that is destructive. People will destroy themselves. When you give, so let's say like you have a society that has drugs available, pornography available, none of that's good for them. But guess what? The people are going to choose it anyways because you're giving the power to the hands of the people. And when people have power, they choose stuff that is impulsive. You destroy the elite class, it results in impulsive destruction. And that's what happens in Marxism. It's not the other way around, Charlie Kirk. You don't know what Marxism is. It's bad. Your right is horrible. It never works. You're exactly right in that. But you don't know what it is. So shut up. Shut up. Shut up. But to get to the American Industrial Revolution, I mean, basically the same thing happened here. If you want to look at what happened when we had the first Industrial Revolution, that mostly went fine, right? But the Second Industrial Revolution went very horribly. If we want to look at like what started it, you go back to Hamilton and Washington wanting production here, so we wouldn't have to rely on trade with Britain for supplies. We wanted protectionism. We wanted our markets to be here. We wanted products to come from here. Protectionism based in epic. And through productive tariffs, we planned for the U.S. economy to maintain a self-sustaining system that would not require free trade. And that was the plan. And then, like, what actually happened, more like P market cap. So true. He's so right. But basically what happened was once the elite got power, the industrial elite got power, because we had the free market laissez-faire capitalism of Adam Smith come into fruition back in like the 1800s, which was not planned by any of the founding fathers. What happened then was that big businesses got in power because of Adam Smith's theory getting into popularity. And what happened was the lobbying then for immigration and the destruction of our culture. And that was never the plans of our founding fathers. If you look at what Hamilton said, that's not what it is, Big Nick. No. You're right and wrong. Let me tell you what Marxism is. So Marxism is when the people take power of the means of production and then destroy the elite and then take power of the elite. First, there's a socialist phase. Phase one is the phase of distributionism, and then the communist phase is the second phase when the elite is completely destroyed. But the second phase never happens because when the people become the elite, they choose destructive means that end up destroying the whole society as a whole. That's where it goes wrong. Not that the elite exists, rather that the people become the elite. And when the people become the elite, everything is destroyed. All right. I just want to get that straight. But to get back to immigration, Hamilton once said, the influx of foreigners must therefore tend to produce a heterogeneous compound to change and corrupt the national spirit, to complicate and confound public opinion, to introduce foreign propensities. Jefferson responded to that by saying, this is why we should just discourage settlement together in large masses. Can I get a base Thomas Jefferson? I mean, rare base Jefferson moment. Rare base Jefferson moment. Rare base Jefferson moment. Okay. We love to see it, right? But Britain, during their Industrial Revolution, they try to keep their industrial secrets to themselves. But what happened was, well, this is actually what basically started the War of 1812, was that British ships would basically spy on American ships and make sure we weren't taking their industrial secrets home. But what we actually figured out would do was that we could internalize blueprints in our head. So what we did was we had Francis Lowell sailed to Great Britain. We had Francis Lowell sailed to Great Britain to learn of the invention of the power loom, and he carried it in his head. He carried the blueprints in his head. That's literally the case. Literally is the case. Yo, Vince, let's go. I wish I was doing this on recording. I am so much worse at live streaming. It's much harder. I don't know how you do it, Vince. This is so much harder than making a video. There's so many points I want to make, I just can't. All right. But during the second Industrial Revolution, the first Industrial Revolution went largely fine, but the second Industrial Revolution is when the fruitions of Adam Smith's free marketism came into popularity, basically. And that is when we started having giants become the new elite of the Rockefellers, the Morgans, the Carnegies, the Vanderbilts, and the Morgans, and the Fords. And that's basically what happened was the new elite was replaced by a business elite during the second Industrial Revolution, as we had free market capitalism from Adam Smith come into fruition that led to an idea that we shouldn't have this elite, this idea that the people could become the deciders of things, and that the people should hold the power, the people should become the elite. And that was basically the idea there. And then that's what kickstarted the second Industrial Revolution, as we had titans, emerging industrial titans, which lobbied for mass immigration and large-scale, just the killing of our culture for the needs of their own industry. We had manufacturing technology that was uncontrolled, rapidly automized production, displaced the American families, make children and women have to come into the workforce, displacing the American dream of the one-parent household. Well, I mean, one-parent working household. Sorry, that's what I meant. But the automation industry, which basically led to no need for large-scale payments, emerged and created mass immigration. And as the genius Kai Clips said, when anything moves too fast that isn't conservative, we love Kai Clips, folks. We just do. But genius. He's a genius. And it's so true. There's nothing conservative about having your culture stripped away by immigrants or having your livelihood stripped away by technology. There's nothing conservative about it. There isn't. What happened was Adam Smith, free market capitalism, led to the elite not enacting on emerging titans, which resulted in the reality of them controlling the government. And when we had an elite that didn't care about the American family, they only cared about the means of their own they only cared about the means of their own business. They just eroded the American culture and family by allowing for mass immigration and mass technology that fuck the American family. All right. And this is exactly what happened in Europe. Was that the family was corrupted and displaced by mass industry automation that resulted in people feeling that their livelihoods were being displaced. And what resulted from that? Exactly what happened in Europe. Mass Marxism coming into fruition. Mass Marxism came into fruition in the same way it did in Europe because people were being displaced by technology and immigrants, and they wanted to seize that which displaced them, which was property, because the technology is what displaced them. They were displaced by the automation. So what they wanted was to basically seize that. They wanted to seize the production and seize the new elite power, because we didn't have an elite as we did originally that cared for the American people, thanks to free market capitalism, which led to the idea of placing the power at the hands of the people. When we had power at the hands of the people, those people were corrupt. They didn't care for other people. And what happened was that they fucked each other and chose impulsive decisions that were very bad for the culture and society as a whole. I'll DM my Twitter to you. But between 1860 and 1900, 14 million immigrants came to the U.S. to enter the workforce. They came here not to assimilate to American culture, but they came here to become business people. They came here to replace the American workers, and that's what they did. And that is why they didn't care for our culture. That's why 1/3 of the immigrants that came here they came here before 1910 ended up leaving and going back to their original country because they had no want to assimilate to our culture. They had no want to become an American. What they wanted was to become workers. And what happened there was that they were so poor in their own country because of the same exact economic policies that were happening in ours, which was the ones I'm sorry, I was looking at chat. Gosh dang it, Drake. Okay. I'll just... God... I forgot what I was saying. I'll just get back to something else. Okay. But automation from the industrial technology, due to that, high-skilled workers were not needed, so pay was low for jobs. Automation made workers easily interchangeable, as all that was needed for the company was people that would put up with the poor conditions and low pay. Immigrants having no leverage of roles in society and just wanting economic roles put up with poor conditions due to the same economic policies that we accepted that put us in poor economic situations in the Great Depression. Big fact, okay? Big fact. but they displaced the American workers because they didn't need money. They didn't care for the working conditions. They could put up with it because all they cared about was money, so they could feed their poor countries at home. And when we had a new elite, not an elite that was over the workers and not an elite that was over the industries, we replaced the elite with corporations. When we displaced the elite with corporations, we had the fucking of the American family and the ridding of American culture, and the American dream died. It died due to this. It died because industrial titans emerged as the new elite that didn't care for the American society and replaced the American workers with people that didn't care for our culture and didn't care for our society. And when people felt their world was shifting so fast, they were being displaced from the workplace. They were now, before they were just able to live with just one parent working, but they had to have their spouses working, and they also had to have their children working, because we allowed the new elite to become industrial titans due to Adam Smith's laissez-faire capitalism. That's what happened. And what resulted from that? The same thing that resulted in Europe in their Industrial Revolution. Marxism, cultural Marxism, feminism resulted from this, Keynesian economics. This is what happened, was that people felt their world shifting so fast that they wanted to seize the elite completely. We put the power in the hands of the people, and the people chose decisions that were horrible for their livelihoods. And that's the same thing that happens in a corporatocracy, where we allow people to choose different products and not have an elite that controls them. You know what happens? People choose products that kill them, and they choose products that fuck the American family, and they choose products of like opioids, pornography, etc. Okay? And this is what happens. The American culture dies when we get rid of the elite over us. The American culture dies when that happens, when we put the power in the hands of the people. And that's exactly what happens with consumerism. Consumerism, the crux of consumerism comes from self-sufficiency. That's what it is. The crux of consumerism is self-sufficiency. It's making humans able to decide things while liberalized from nation, hierarchy, and morality. When we allow people to choose whatever they want, we don't care for others, we don't care about their livelihoods. What they will choose is things that are impulsive. They'll choose vices such as drugs, pornography, greed, gluttony, lust, pride, etc. These are impulse decisions. These are things you choose as an impulse, not things that are actually good for your livelihood. That's what happens, is that when we get the option for people to choose things, they will always choose what feels best and not what is best for their bottom line. Why is this bad, you may ask? Well, I don't want to see people dying on the side of the street with needles around them because they're addicted to opioids. I don't like San Francisco. I don't want this to be the rest of the country, but this will be what will happen for the rest of the country if we don't end consumerism and free market capitalism, if we don't allow for an elite to have at least some control in our lives, that actually have an elite that actually cares for the American citizens and cares for their culture and wants to have one father in the workforce and allow a mother to be home and allow children to go to school, being free from cultural Marxism that wants to plague their minds and make them cogs in the wheels for industrial titans. That's what we need to do, is we need to stop that if we want to forward this country into a better system and forward this country into a better livelihood. Okay. And you can say that's their decision to decide stuff. You can say it's their decision if they want to have opioids, if they want to watch pornography. It's their decision, bro. It's their decision, bro. It's not their decision. It's an impulse. Okay. It's not. There is no such thing as the rational thinker. People are not rational. People are stupid. Okay. 81 million people. Maybe they voted for Joe Biden. Maybe they didn't. But a lot of people voted for Joe Biden. People are not rational. People are not smart. People don't choose things that are the best for their livelihoods. They choose what feels good. They choose based off their emotions. They choose what feels good to their vices. They choose what is an impulse. I don't care whether something is someone's decision or not. I don't want to see my fellow countrymen killing themselves and jacking off. This is utopia. Okay. I don't want it. And I'm telling you, there's someone in the, not you guys in the live chat, but there's going to be someone in the comments that's like, but the founding fathers wanted this. Shut up, okay? I'm the founding father. This is a new evolution. We need new founding fathers. I'm the founding father, okay? I'm the But on a serious note, I had a close friend that died today, and I'm going to be honest. I don't know how to feel grief anymore. I am so mind numbed by video games, Discord, whatever. I'm so mind numbed by technology and consumerist culture that I don't know how to feel. I see fellow countrymen dying, and there's no sense of nation in this country anymore. It's like people don't know how to feel. People don't know how to grieve. People don't care for people anymore. They're just the ultimate autonomized individual, the liberalized individual. It's not a collective culture. Right now, we're living in an individualist culture. We're living in a culture where people are just like, live and let live, man. Yeah, stick some heroin up you, bro. And that's what people are doing. They're killing themselves, and they're destroying the American culture because they're choosing stuff by impulse, because they don't have an elite that influences decisions for them. They have an elite that says, do whatever, and they do whatever. They choose things that are horrible for their livelihoods. They choose things that are bad. They choose things that are addictive, that ruin the American culture, ruin their lives, ruin the family, and it's horrible. We as a country, we don't exist as a country anymore. We exist as a people, not as a people. We exist as a person. We are individualized. We are liberalized from society. We are liberalized from nation. We are moving towards hedonism. We are moving towards addiction, greed, lust, whatever. That's what we're moving to, because laissez-faire capitalism displaced the American family. It put the crux of decisions at the hands of the people. The people decided things. The people decided things. We destroyed the elite that decided things for people and influenced decisions to keep us on the right track and keep us away from addictive vices. What we thought would happen from people like Adam Smith was, we thought people could become liberalized from society and people could just choose things, and then they choose whatever's best for them, and they just go away from the products if it's bad for them. But that's not what happened, okay? It's not what happened. It isn't. When people became liberalized, when people became individuals, rapid individuals, what happened was they destroyed themselves, they killed themselves. People are dying every day from things that people would never die from. And I'm sure there's people in this chat that know people that have killed themselves, that know people that have died from drugs, obesity, whatever, that know people that have died even at really young ages from stuff like that. And guess what? That's not normal. You know what that's a sign of? It's not the sign of a strong nation. It's a sign of a dying nation. It's the sign of a nation that has glorified individualism and people deciding things. And when people are given the option to decide bad things, you know what they do? They decide bad things. They decide to get addicted to drugs. They decide to become obese. They decide to get addicted to lust and all this gross and horrible stuff for them. And they become horrible androgynous beings that just become basically options for what their favorite Netflix series is. That's what they are. People, we are not being killed by an elite. This nation is not being killed by an elite. We are killing ourselves. This nation is not being ruined by an authoritative government. That's not what's happening. People are choosing things. They're given the ability to choose things. And what is resulting is people are choosing things that are horrible for them, and people are choosing things that are destroying them. People are destroying themselves. People are destroying their livelihoods, their futures, because people are being told, you can choose whatever you want. It's a free market. And that's what they're doing. They're choosing whatever they want. They're choosing to watch Zootopia porn. They're choosing to kill themselves. They're choosing to stick themselves up with opioids. They're choosing to spend their whole lives playing video games and never getting married. We don't know how to love this country. We don't know how to feel. We don't know how to do anything. All we know how to do is watch Netflix, post on social media, and do drugs and watch pornography. That's all we know how to do as a country. We don't know how to work as efficient people. We don't know how to be Christian. We don't know how to be loving people. We don't know how to care for people, our fellow countrymen. We don't know how to grieve when we know someone close that has died. We don't know how to do any of that. You know what we know how to do? We know how to decide things. And you know what we would decide? We decide things that are horrible for our livelihood and are destructive to our fellow country. Because what we are is the autonomized individual. Thanks, Adam Smith. Not thanks. You destroyed the country. Okay? I hope you're happy with what you did. Fine, fine, fine. All right, I'm gonna go through chat for a bit. All right, let me look through chat. Is Carter a groiper? I don't watch Fuentes much. I wouldn't consider myself a groiper, but I don't have any issues with the groipers. Rather, I just don't think Nick is really the best figurehead completely. I think he's a good person. I think he's good for a lot of things, but I think what he gets wrong is race is a good. I think he hyper focuses on race too much. Race is a good thing to like determine like someone's values and cultural values by like knowing where they came from, knowing like their culture. Like if I look at a black guy and a white guy, I'm not going to think they're living the same livelihood or living the same culture. That's what race is. But race is not the determinant. Race is not the sole determining factor, because you have melanin in your skin doesn't mean you're a liberal. That's not what makes you a liberal. What makes you a liberal is coming from certain countries and having certain families. That's what makes you liberal, not having a certain amount of melanin in your skin. Like people from France, they're white, but they also are living a similar life that we would disagree with. So that's kind of where I'd disagree with the groupers on. So not completely, but I don't have an issue with them much, just a disagreement, which I don't know if that's fueled by hatred or what, but I haven't seen anything like that from Nick. I mean, he's Latino, so. Paleoconservative and right-wing populists aren't super hyper-focused on individualism and capitalism. Rather, they oppose consumeristic culture and environmental... Yes. Yes, of course. Because really the sole factor of reality is that people really, like, internally, whether they vote for Joe Biden or what, people internally have this feeling of disliking certain things and disliking seeing other people dying, right? That's internalized. It's natural, because naturally we have this linkage towards a collective, towards a society, towards a nation. Naturally, we have this. That's what we have, is we have a connection towards each other. We don't live an actual life of being liberalized from each other. But what has happened is we've had an elite that has made us liberalized from each other, and now we don't really feel anything. We're numb. We're numbed by consumerism, by just BPAs and different stuff. That's what's happening, is they're making us try not to feel. When stuff is in our face, right? When stuff is in our face, we're able to still feel naturally, because that's natural. But once, like, we just hear about something in the news, right? We just hear someone dies. We don't really care about that, because we're not having our impulsive, natural reaction to it, because we didn't see it with our own eyes. Rather, our brain, it's like a different part of where your brain that's recepting towards it, towards like feelings, that's recepting towards like it in a different way. So people are being controlled. People are becoming so mind numb that part of their brain is not able to fully function, and they're not able to fully critical think about the serious impact of their fellow countrymen, because we live as an autonomous individual. And you know what happens in an autonomous individualist culture? People kill themselves, people die, and no one cares, right? No one cares. I mean, there's people openly advocating these days for just people to just be wiped off the face of the planet. Bro, if my cat doesn't shut up. Dude, I'm going to pull out a Glock. So true. It's literally so true. There's nothing wrong about that. I hope you guys can't hear about my... Can you guys hear my cat meowing? I hope you can't. He's being really annoying. Let me look at the chat. All right, let me go back to this thing that got me off track. Carter, what is your opinion on the relation between American porn? Listen, I don't know about that. You're the one that watches that kind of stuff here, okay? I don't know about that kind of stuff. If you do, that's your problem. I don't know what you're talking about, okay? I don't know what you're talking about, all right? Maybe you can tell me, because you're the expert on that kind of stuff, but I don't know about... I haven't seen anything like that, okay? Um, Literally so true. When you allow people to make decisions at the most fundamental level, this is actually the problem where democracy always leads to idiots. This is why we say democracy is cringe from Aristotle, because what Aristotle has said was that we need an elite that cared for the people and would influence their decisions so that we weren't having this autonomous individualism. That's what aristocracy is keeping an elite that makes decisions for people, because when people are made to make decisions, they are just making things by impulse. And what is impulsive often is things that are planted in your head by big corporate elitists. Okay, that's what becomes impulsive. Is stuff that's repeated to you ad nauseum, and that's why they actually control the speech so much. Is because they can control the flow of information and make something so repeated that it becomes impulsive to people. And what happens is we allow people to choose things because we're like, the rational person, they will just not choose. They'll not choose the bad products. Well, people are their country, their gas prices, and everything going up under Biden. You think people still aren't going to vote Democrat? It's not a real thing. People don't choose things based off of what's good for them. They choose what's impulsive, and what is impulsive is what is repeated to you over and over again. And that's why the media actually controls people so much, is because we're giving the power to the people to decide things, and people decide things as impulsive. The same thing that happens in consumeristic culture. People choose things that feel good, and they take pain medication, opioids, and they do all types of things that are destructive. All right. I don't watch any porn, okay? I don't watch any, okay? Bam. That's what we need. We don't watch any here, all right? Get out for Big Nick. More like sucks dick, all right? Get out. Get out. But all right, to get back to what I was saying, I mean, yeah, I'm tired of this government bad, liberal conservative talking points. That's really what got me here. Is I'm tired of that. I'm tired of um, this idea of rejecting elitism as a conservative movement. Elitism is awesome. Okay, elitism is cool. You know why it's cool? Because people are dumb, all right? And when people are given decisions to just choose things, they'll choose what's impulsive. And what's impulsive is things that are bad for them, things that are addicting. That's what is impulsive. People choose what's impulsive based off of what is repeated to them, what their basically mind is addicted to knowing because it's been so repeated to them so often. That's what's impulsive. And when you give people the ability to decide, the autonomous individual, free from hierarchy, free from society, free from nation, free from elitism, the complete individualism, man. They choose stuff that's destructive to them, not only them, but also their neighbors. Okay, it does not stop at your own home. People always say, "What's wrong with the decision if it's made in your own home?" It doesn't stop at the own home because we are not one home. We are not a nation where everyone lives in their own home. We are a community. We are a people. We are people with a culture, and we are people that when we see other people die, when we see it, we're supposed to not feel good. We're supposed to feel very down about it. But we've become so numb because the elite class has not been caring for the people and has been allowing people to make decisions by themselves. And what they have been doing is making decisions by themselves. And I am not a furry. Okay, don't say that. That's, you know what? Can I get you banned? I'm gonna ban. we gotta time them out. We gotta time them out, boys. We gotta time them out. But it's so stupid. These people don't know what Marxism is. They don't know they don't even know what conservatism is, because that was not a sentence. They don't even know what conservatism is. They don't know what anything is. You know what they know? They know figurehead talking points by an elite that wants people to destroy themselves and kill themselves rapidly. That's what they know. They know talking points from lobbyists that hate us. They hate the American family. They hate the American culture. They hate white people. They hate men. They hate strong men. What they want is us to be individuals, free from society, free from nation, free from God. They want us hedonistic fleshlights. Okay, that's what they want us to be. And that's what we've been preaching, and that's why we've died as a country. That's why we've been dying. We're not... I was going to let you go, but that's too far. That's too far. Rand Paul's... Okay, can I don't think there's a way I can take you out of timeout. Is there a way? I'd take you out if I know how. Shit. Give us a white pill. White pill. White pill? You know what the white pill is? I'm here. You're here. We're all here. That's the white pill. That's the major white pill. All right, it's that we're here. We've made it through the programming. We're here. That's the white pill. We're here. We've made it through the programming. We've made it through all the attempts to just kill our subconscious, to kill our brains. We've made it through it. You know what that's a sign that we as people, we can make it past the impulsive, the power of impulse that so many other people are falling to. It's because we are independent. We have the lion mindset. And when they try and throw all this mind-numbing stuff at us, we're going to make it past it because we're disciplined. We believe in God. We know what is good for us. We know what's good for society. And because we're here, that means we're going to save the country, because that means that humans can make it past the program when they are enlightened by actual truths. But when it's actually made in a way that's actually persuasive. That's a word. There we go. Because being true, sticking to the truth it's not enough, right? Being right isn't enough. It never has been. It's not enough. If being true was enough, we wouldn't be here, right? If you're going to call yourself a conservative and also say that marketplace of ideas, the truth will always win, that doesn't even make sense. If you think you're conservative, you think conservatism is the right side, but you also think the truth always wins, but you also think conservatism is the truth, but yet you still see all these people that aren't conservatives in society. How does that mesh in your brain? Obviously, there's more to it than just the truth. You have to be effective. You have to divide people from impulse. That's what you have to do. Or you create a new impulse by using propaganda, which is based. Propaganda's based, all right? It's very cool. It's not propaganda when we do it. It's truth. Literally so true. But yeah, I mean, I had a whole script here. I didn't go by it. It's not easy to read off in the live stream, so I just didn't go off of it because that's kind of cringe. I might make a video eventually, or like a PowerPoint, because this is like so full of like history on the script. Like I legitimately read out about like so much with like the European Industrial Revolution, American Industrial Revolution, so much history in here. I could teach a history class on this. Not kidding. Spelling is stupid. Spelling's dumb. All right, it's dumb. But we always like to critique Marx, and we should. Marx is evil, but he wasn't wrong on everything. He was evil. But what is best for combating Marxism is understanding what Marxism is. That's what is required. When you have a incorrect definition of Marxism, you will always combat it ineffectively. You must understand what it is in order to combat it effectively. Because if you're having a misrepresentation of it, then you're just not going to know what points to attack it at. You're going to actually advocate for things that will actually be conductive towards Marxism, as we have been doing by advocating for laissez-faire capitalism, because laissez-faire capitalism is what made Marxism. Marx grew up in England under a capitalist free market society. That is literally what happened. Is that Marx literally grew up under the epitome, like under the at the center of laissez-faire capitalism, which was Adam Smith influenced European Industrial Revolution, where automation replaced the European worker, and that's let me fix this. Give me a second. Let me make a couple people mods real quick. Give me a second. I'm gonna drink some water real quick. Isn't he the greatest, folks? I don't know what's better. What has more BPAs? Because they put it in the water, like in the lead pipes. They put BPAs in the lead pipes, but they also put it into plastic. I don't know which is better for you. Which has more BPAs, the plastic or the lead pipes? Hate you guys. People are like, just let me grill. Just let me drink water. That's all I want. I just want to drink water and not become an estrogenic femboy. All right? Just let me drink water. Just let me drink water. I wonder how that looks on stream. But you must understand Marxism to defeat it. Marx didn't like elitism, as we are always taught by these conservatives. Marx didn't like elitism. Marx rejected elitism. He wanted the people to have the power. And that's where Marxism always fails, is when the people have the power, when people are given the right to have decisions free from elites controlling their decisions. What happens from there is that they choose stuff that is impulsive and destructive, and that's where the nation always falls, is because people choose things that are horrible for the rest of the society, because they don't care about the rest of the society. They choose about what feels impulsively good, and that's where the nation always falls under communism. The Marxism always fails under the second. It always feels around. It never, like when liberals say, or communists say, real communism has never been tried. They're literally speaking truth. Like, they're not wrong. It has never been tried. The second phase, which is referred to as the communist phase, which is when the elite is then destroyed, is like when the government's then destroyed. That hasn't ever been tried, because it can't be tried. Because what happens is, at the phase when you give the people the power directly by destroying the old elites, people choose things that are impulsive, they choose things that feel good, and that is where it always goes wrong, because it's impossible. It can't work. All right? No, I mean, it was intended to work if you actually read Marx, which I actually did for this video, it was a reaction to laissez-faire capitalism, because laissez-faire capitalism is unstable. Okay, it's not stable. When you get rid of the hierarchy, as laissez-faire capitalism does, and you allow for impulse, it allows for people to choose decisions that feel good rather than what's best for the society. And that is what happened with Marx, and that is where Marx came from, was a laissez-faire capitalist system that allowed people to become autonomous from hierarchy and choose whatever feels good. And consumeristic cultures led to Marxism and created Marxism, as they have in the US. It's just simply the case. But basically where the tyranny in Marxism always comes from is having the unqualified people running the government. It is destroying the old elite. It is destroying an elite that cares for people and allowing the elite to become the people. And that's where it always goes wrong, is that that's literally where it goes wrong. If you actually look at Marxism, Marx actually took fundamental values from physiocracy and laissez-faire capitalism. And he's the whole yeah, it literally can't work because of the nature of humans. When they aren't being controlled by a hierarchy, the nature of humans is an impulsive is an impulsive decision framework that is horrible for their livelihoods and the livelihood of a nation. And that's why it always falls and it can't work. It's because it puts the people in power. Not the other way around, Charlie Kirk. Literally is the case. I'm just not going to respond to that. I'm not going to respond to it. But Conning always says, what causes communist tyranny is the growth of the state and the... Okay. That makes more... Well, that's not even right, because it's literally... Marxism is literally built off of a reaction to laissez-faire capitalism. It's built on revolution that's supposed to make the proletariat react against the state. Marxism in itself is a reaction to laissez-faire capitalism. I mean, Marx grew up in England in a laissez-faire market from Adam Smith's theory, which is the same theory that created laissez-faire capitalism. Laissez-faire capitalism in the U.S., which led to U.S. Marxism, because the people felt the power stripped away from them and then wanted to seize what was the current power, which became the business state. So they wanted to seize the business state and seize their power and their property, because the property was displacing them and their families. And Marxism is a reaction to that. Marxism is a reaction to property displacing them and their livelihood, so that people want to them take over the property. And that's really where Marxism comes from. Yeah, I think that's basically it. I mean, I spent so long working on a script I just didn't use, so I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I think that's basically it, though. I'm just going to wrap this up. Thanks for coming out. Glad I can finally upload again. It feels great. It feels great to talk to you guys again. I see what you're saying in chat now, Big Dick. I think you just phrased it wrong a bit. I mean, if you want me to just go over basically what I've already said, I can. If you wanted me to just like lecture you on history, but that's kind of like boring. I mean, I've already hit like the points of it because I'm kind of reading it, like I'm semi-reading it, but like not like a history class lecture, which the stream would just be if I just went off the script, and I don't really want that. I just hit the mic. I'm sorry, that sounded awful. I'm going to find a way to where I can record. Oh, you're saying keep the stream up. Yeah, I'm going to. I thought you meant like keep the stream going. Yeah, I'm going to keep the stream up. I just came from church, Big Nick. I thought you were saying keeping the stream going, and I was like, no. I see what you're saying. That's actually what I'm planning on, Frankie. Yeah, it's gonna wrap it up. Thanks for coming out. Stay tuned for next Carter Shaw show. I'll put up a poll in my story on which video we want to do next. But yeah, that'll basically be it. Thanks for coming out. If you haven't seen the whole thing, if you just came in midway, I'd recommend rewatching it. We had some really good parts. I'll probably be uploading some of it. I'm sorry for whoever just came on the stream right now. That's kind of funny, right when we're closing out the stream, because that's pretty funny. But yeah, that's gonna do it. Thanks for coming out. Yeah, stay tuned.